welcome back. This is the second annual college basketball tip-off preview show on the Yonkers CFB YouTube channel. You know this channel, maybe you know, maybe you don't. We do college football exclusively here, unless it's the college basketball tip-off, because that needs to be covered. And there's not enough outlets covering college basketball, let's be honest. So we are here. We are covering it. We are going to break this shit down. Okay. Big slate here. Before we get started, prize picks. Easiest way to make money in all of DFS out there. I'm not kidding you. Prize picks. Especially if you're playing college sports. All this NFL shit. These guys think they have a 0.25 edge on yardage, whatever bullshit they think they have. They do not have the edge that we have here at college. So go ahead and hit up prize picks. Check out my Twitter at YonkersCFB. Hit 11 of 13 prize picks on college football last week. Can't wait to get into college basketball prize picks. But go ahead and check me out at YonkersCFB on Twitter. That promo code is Yonke, all caps, YONKE. Go ahead and hit that up. You get $100 free, 100% instant deposit match. You don't have to play against sharks. You don't have to play against shit. Just the projection, which you know you're going to beat because we beat it 11 out of 13 times last week. So, prize picks. Hit it up if you haven't heard of it. Link is in the description to this video. Okay. We got a nice 8-game slate to get us started here next week. First up, Loyola, Maryland. There's not going to be a lot to say about Loyola, Maryland. They lost their best player. They had a really good Spanish player, Santi Aldamada. That's my boy. He's gone. Without him, they're pretty much nothing. Andrews is going to be their best guard at 5,900. I think in the cash game, he's okay. GPP, I don't know. He'll probably get you a decent amount of points. Probably going to be their highest scorer throughout the year, but not a ton of interest. Behind him, Cam Spencer, you're probably hoping he hits 3 to 4 threes. But as you can see in his game log, he does not do that all that often. Guards behind him. Pretty dumb if you're playing them, in my opinion, unless you're hoping to get lucky on some leverage. All right, Golden Dyke. The Golden Dyke. Shout out Golden Dyke. No, DK here on DK. He's going to be their main front court guy this year, but he's not a heavy usage player whatsoever. Obviously, all the usage is gone with Aldamada, so the question about this offense is where's that usage going to go to? I could not tell you. I think Alphonse Foray is going to come up. He's a pretty good shooter. He's also another foreign big man. Naturally, you would think he's going to replace Aldamada. I'm not so sure that's going to happen, but he could hit a couple threes and get some rebounds at that height. Other than that, I don't really see why you would be playing them against UNC. UNC is also in a precarious position because Roy Williams, the man we know and love, no longer with the program. So I think they're going to spread it out more is what most people think. They're going to shoot more threes is what most people think. Basically, it's a wild card. They should dominate Loyola, Maryland in this game. Caleb Love's at 8,200. That seems pretty pricey for Caleb Love, who was absolutely terrible all year last year. That being said, he had one of the highest usage rates in all of college basketball, even though he was terrible. They kept giving him the ball. If he's slightly less terrible with that usage rate, he would be great. But at 82K, seems dicey. Leaky Black at 6.3. He has always been a role player, should be a role player once again. Is one of the best role players in college basketball, let me admit that, but role player, 6.3, I don't know. Walton's going to shoot a shit ton of threes, 6.1. You're basically hoping he hits 5 or 6 of them to get you a tournament value. But he should be one of the top shooters on this team. RJ Davis behind him. Very good at basketball. Unfortunately, not very tall. Unfortunately, should not have a huge role in this offense. I think they should give him, if I was taking over as the coach at North Carolina, I would say we should give RJ Davis more touches and Caleb Love significantly less touches, but I am not the coach, and for good reason. So, I don't know, but I think RJ Davis is a very good player at 5.2K, but I can't really recommend him strongly because the usage appears like it might be fairly low, barring the new offense stepping in. Okay, Baycott at 8.5K. Baycott's really good, and the front court depth is really gone. I think Baycott, if you're in GPPs, I think he could be a smash play. If you're in cash games, I think Baycott does enough of everything. Baycott's one of the top plays, if not the top play on the entire slate. Dawson Garcia behind him, 7.7K. Obviously, with that price difference, that's pretty laughable. Baycott is the clear go-to at that price range. But Dawson Garcia is pretty good. Played at Marquette, lefty. Good player all around. Not really sure what you're hoping for him to retain value at 7.7K, so I'm pretty much recommending a fade in all areas, even though I think he's a good player. Unless he goes for a 20 and 10, which he could, but don't really see how you're forecasting that. Brady Manick, I'm going to assume he doesn't play great minutes on this squad. Seems like more of a spot-up shooter. He can make the jokes you've all heard before that he looks like Larry Bird and whatnot. But hit a ton of threes for Oklahoma. Good big man. Good player. 6.5K. Again, laughable. Anyone behind them, I think you're kind of hoping to get lucky. Styles, the freshman, coming in at 3.7K. I guess is the way you would look if you're trying to get lucky. But I can't recommend it. I think Manick, Garcia, and Baycott, this is a good team. Unless it's a 30-point blow early, anyone behind them, I don't know. Hope to get lucky. Okay, Kansas, -4 against Michigan State. Yeah, I bet Kansas, -4. I think Kansas is very good. I think Michigan State is declining. Their football team, I like to fade them. Has that fared me well this year? Not until last week. But anyway. Yeah, Michigan State fell off a cliff last year. I think Kansas, they had a lot of transfers come in. I think everything is positive about Kansas. I can't really think of anything negative to say. Michigan State, obviously, we can think of a lot of negative things to say. So, anyway, I'm on Kansas here. I think Remy Martin at 8K, transfer from Arizona State. I think that's pretty egregious, that price point, to be honest with you. I think Obaji at 6.8K, I think that's a very strong play in both cash and GPP. I think Obaji's a stronger play in cash. I don't like to rely on my eye test because I'm going to be honest with you. I watch every single college football game every single day. Not every single day, but every single Saturday. College basketball, just don't have the time for it. Obviously, there's way more teams. That being said, I do coach basketball. I watch basketball, obviously, my whole life. Anyway, when I'm resorting to my eye test, not as strong in football as it is in basketball, but I fucking like it, Baji. I like him. I think he's the best player on Kansas, and I think Kansas is the second best team in the country, so I think he's a damn good player, basically is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, McCormick at 7.5K. Michigan State basically has had a lot of trouble down low. Don't really know if that's going to change. I think McCormick at 7.5K, he will probably be popular. I really like him. I don't really see how you don't. But he probably will be popular. Okay, so the big news is Jalen Wilson is out. We probably wouldn't play him at 6.7K anyway. Behind him, I think that opens up more minutes for Agbaji at the 4. I think Braun, who is the sharpshooter, who is a tournament-only option because he likes to hug threes, and could he hit 5 threes in this game? I don't see why not, but GPP dart only. Mitch Lightfoot's going to play some minutes due to that injury. If you don't know who Mitch Lightfoot is, I am surprised you're listening to this video. But he is basically, let me try to think of a college football equivalent. He's Slade Bolden. Are you going to play Slade Bolden? I don't know. You tell me. No. Although Alabama did play Slade Bolden against LSU. It was a 7-point game. They were down 7. And they actually lined up Slade Bolden and ran Wildcat for Slade Bolden. So, fuck, I don't know. Maybe these teams really like Slade Bolden and Mitch Lightfoot's, but we don't. All right, so Michigan State, they have the transfer, obviously, at point guard and Walker. He's 7.4K. He put up some huge stats. Is it going to transfer to Michigan State? Probably not. I think he's an okay play. I think his price is a little too cheap than it should be because all these transfers and guys who should not be priced that high are priced very high, and Walker's just kind of has a decent price. I don't think he's a core play. I think he's a secondary play. He hit some threes. I like his steal rate. I think it was a very high steal rate. I have it in front of me. I think it's top 5 nationally steal rate. So This guy's a beast, but obviously with this Michigan State offense, the usage is not going to quite be there. So behind him, Christie is a huge recruit. Kind of looks like a tall, lanky dude that should not be doing something crazy in college, but he's looked really good in the scrimmages, apparently. I would consider Christie a GPP dart and nothing other than that. Yeah, this Michigan State team was not good last year, and the guys behind the transfers, the guys behind the freshmen, they didn't do anything last year, so I'm not really going to give them airspace on this here video. All right, Joey Hauser, he's a big man. He hits a lot of threes. So at 5.5K, obviously you're going to have to be a little bit interested, but he was a role player last year on a team that just was not very good. And in a team that, if you're playing him in DFS, I guess you're assuming they're going to be better than they were last year. I don't really assume, I don't know how you assume Hauser's going to be the go-to guy. While he's probably the best shooter on the team, I think you have to get kind of lucky against a team like Kansas. All right, Bingham's going to be at center. He's pretty good at blocking shots. I guess you have to hope he gets 4 blocks for playing him at 4.5K. Malik Hall at 3.9K. He is the bury the lead. He is the guy you are playing, in my opinion, on Michigan State. The unfortunate news is that Tom Izzo gave a nice quote about him, and now it's here for everyone to see. He's basically the breakout player on Michigan State, and Tom Izzo sees it the exact same way. So, in the front court where they need people to step up, it's unfortunate he gave that quote because I think his ownership would have been lower otherwise. The green screen's all fucked up. I'm getting too excited. Okay. All right, Fairfield plus 14 against Providence. Over-under's only at 133, so not a lot of ownership. If you are playing this one, it's probably only one guy, maybe 2 at most. Fairfield plays at a very slow tempo. They were also 70th in the country. They only allowed 66.7 points per game last year. So, slow defensive team and a Providence team breaking in a lot of new guys. David Duke has graduated. You're going to have to pick and choose your spot. So, basically, I won't spend a lot of time on Fairfield. You look at their guys here, I don't really think anybody is huge. You can play the high usage guys up at the top, but that's probably cash only. GPPs, I don't see it. I just don't see it. Okay, their forwards, same thing. I'm not going to waste my breath. Nothing exciting. Okay. Providence. It all starts with Nate Watson. I'm a big Nate Watson guy. I did play him a lot last year. One of those centers who does everything. He's their leading scorer, leading rebounder, gets a lot of blocks. He's pretty good, especially in cash. I don't think I could play him in tournaments, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, with a total at 133, I just don't know what you expect. Maybe he gets 5 blocks. You're playing 150, sure. But, yeah, I think more of a cash guy. Other than that, Horchler, I think, is okay at 6.9K. But, again, he's priced too high. He's a good shooter, and he gets a decent amount of rebounds. So, in GPPs, that seems really good. But the usage is just not there. He'll have games where he shoots 5-6 times. Why did I pay up for a guy who shot 6 times? I don't know. All right, as far as guard, I think Jared Bynum, their point guard, is going to be pretty high owned. He's a pretty good point guard, don't get me wrong, but I think with all the news coming out of the scrimmage, he had a great game against Purdue. He just really hasn't had that many great games, especially fantasy-wise, looking at his schedule. So I think with David Duke going out, I think Bynum is going to be a solid player. I think at 5K, especially in cash, he is okay. At GPP, I just kind of have a feeling like he's going to be over-owned. That being said, I do think he's the lead ball handler. And, their 14-point favorite. He should get a decent amount of assists here. So, he's okay. All right, AJ Reeves is going to be I think he's going to be their top scorer. It's going to be between him and Durham. So, Durham's the Indiana transfer. Reeves is good. You watch him, he's good. He's a scorer. He can shoot. But, he's not that well-rounded. Doesn't get very many assists. Doesn't really stuff the stat sheet. I think it's 6.6K. You're really hoping he hits 6 threes, which I think is a fairly low percentage outcome. Durham's pretty good overall, but pretty high variance. GPP 6.4K. I think it's going to be mostly Reeves and Durham shooting on this team. And then Watson being the main guy fantasy-wise. So it's just not that appealing, right? Okay, Texas Southern versus Oregon. Yeah, full disclosure, I am an Oregon fan. But when we're looking at this matchup, Texas Southern is actually a pretty good group of five team. I say group of five, total football guy. Mid-major is what we say here for basketball. But no, both teams, they play at a slow pace. Oregon spreads the ball around. I think overall you're looking for one player from this matchup, maybe two. And you have some pretty good prices, so I don't hate having one or two guys. A.J. Lawson, this is not the South Carolina guy you're thinking of. This is a McNeese transfer. But he is a good transfer. That being said, a 4.2K, like that's, I think especially in cash. A.J. Lawson. It's a transfer from McNeese State. He had 5 assists and 5 rebounds per game at McNeese. Why 4.2? I don't know. Seems solid to me. All right, their forwards are what most people are going to be looking at. I think Walker the third, 5.3K. He does a lot of everything, let's be honest. Gets steals, gets blocks. You can do worse, especially in cash. He's played pretty well against Power 5 competition, so anytime you see this where they're facing a good team like Oregon, you're going to have to look at their priors. Walker played up against priors. He did pretty solid. And Nicholas didn't do shit against his priors. Like Michigan, 8 points. Not going to scroll through there, but he didn't do shit against his priors. So I think Walker at 5.3 and Lawson at 4.2. I actually think those guys are a pretty solid plays here. Tournament-wise, I guess Walker has the highest upside. But if Lawson got you 30 in a tourney, it would not be shocking. All right, Oregon-wise, they're overpriced. Will Richardson, lefty point guard. I think all three of their top guys at the guard spots are all lefties, which is not really something you want to visually be seeing. But anyway, he's a crafty lefty guy. He fills up the stat sheet at 8.8K. I can't really recommend him against some of the other top options. I think Harmon, he's a transfer from Oklahoma. He's really a steal guy, 7.2K. I think you're relying on like 4 steals for him to hit good value at 7.2, but I think he is good. Jacob Young's a Rutgers transfer, another lefty. I can't recommend him at the price, not even close. All right, Guerrier is a Syracuse transfer, so they're breaking in a lot of transfers. Who knows how it's going to look first game out. And like I said, Texas Southern's actually a pretty good team. They're not the cupcake you might think. That's too expensive for Guerrier. I think him and Williams. So 5.7 Williams is the most attractive option on this Oregon team, especially for cash. I think his game log doesn't look great, but if I'm playing cash, it's really hard for me to get away from Williams at 5.7K is what I'll say. He does a little bit of everything. He's the more established guy. They're breaking in 3 transfers. Seems like a good Williams spot. For GPPs, I don't know. He's fine. Biddle's the freshman at 7.4K. I'm not going to play any Biddle. He seems fine. He has a lot of height, but at the same time, he averaged 14.6 points his last year in high school. So, what blow-up game are you expecting from a guy who averaged 14 points in high school? Senior year. I don't know. I think they got a lot of talent on this team, so I don't know. Guerrier, he'll probably do fine, but at 8.4K, I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up. We have no idea what that team's going to look like. So many transfers. I would guess Gary is going to be the highest scoring fantasy producer on the season. But I think the team's going to spread the ball out. Him, Richardson, Young, Harmon. A lot of mouths to feed. Williams. I don't know. All right, Miami, Ohio against Georgia Tech. We got plus 10.5 to Miami, Ohio, which seems like a short spread because Georgia Tech won the ACC last year. Over under 143. Overall, there's a lot to like about this Miami team. They return everybody to a team from a year ago who returned everybody from the year before that. So a lot of continuity. Once you dig deeper into it, though, I really don't like the system whatsoever. They play 4 guards. They all dribble too much. They play at the slowest tempo possible, which for 4 guards who can attack the defense on the dribble, why would you play at a slow pace? I have no fucking idea. But the offense looks like shit when you watch it, and it should not look like shit. They have some good players. Long story short, don't stack this game because they're going to slow it down, but you can pick and choose in one spot. Overall, I think when I'm looking at all those four guards, I think Day Grant at 4.8K is pretty clearly the top guy if you're going to target anyone. I think he's more of a cash guy. I was initially interested in playing him in tournaments with everything considered. I still think 4.8K is too cheap if you're filling him in, but with everything I just said, with them slowing it down at multiple guards, seeing touches, it's a little tough. I do think Brown at 6.8K, they're forward. Delonte Brown's the only way I could look. This guy does a lot of everything. He shoots a shit ton of threes, and he's a pretty good forward. I do not hate Day Grant whatsoever at 6.8K. I think especially in cash. All right, Georgia Tech. Yeah, Michael DeVoe is the most expensive player on the entire slate at 9.3K. Why is he that expensive? Not sure I could tell you. I guess they think Alvarado being out is going to mean Michael DeVoe turns into Jesus Christ incarnate. I don't know about that. He's good. He's a scorer. A game that's probably going to be slower tempoed. 9.3K. Pretty easy fade for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Let me know if I'm wrong. Alright, Usher behind him. Not a huge score at 7.8K. Again, expecting him to step up and be Alvarado. I don't really see why. In cash games, Usher's just pretty much assured 25 points. And probably 30, so he's fine. The guards behind him, yeah, Parham's supposed to be out. This guy's a lights-out shooter, but the 2 years he's been at Georgia Tech just hasn't shot the ball for shit. So I don't know if that VMI form's ever going to come back. At tournaments, I'm always still interested in Parham, especially this year with Alvarado out, but not really going to matter here. Anyone behind them, I just can't get there, especially in GPPs, which, if you watch this channel, you know we play GPPs. Okay. The forwards, I think Khalid Moore is actually a pretty good player at 5.2K. Played very well defensively, played some solid minutes. I think his offensive game with so many, because obviously Moses Brown's gone, Alvarado's gone. I think Khalid Moore is going to be the guy who might step up a little bit this year. That being said, he had an ankle sprain, he's not fully healthy, and doesn't shoot the ball a ton anyway at 5.2K, so I think he's more of a cash game guy. Howard, 4.5K. All right, so who the fuck is going to step up for Moses Brown? Well, Rodney Howard apparently is the guy, and he's really cheap. That being said, we're not assured Rodney Brown's the guy. He hasn't done shit. Look at him. He's playing 8 minutes, 6 minutes. I don't know, but it could be there. That game, I feel like I don't have a strong read on that game, and it could kind of make or break the slate. So I don't know. Use whatever information I'm giving you, if it helps at all. Probably doesn't, because who the hell knows what Georgia Tech's rotation is going to look like. But if we're guessing, I think DeVoe's pretty clearly going to be the top scorer. I think Usher's obviously going to have a good year. But the one guy I have circled is Moore at 5.2K. And then Howard at 4.5. I think I would have priced them a decent amount higher in this matchup. All right, Navy. I'm not going to waste any time on Navy. So they're playing Virginia, who obviously we know Virginia's defense by now. They slipped up a little bit last year, but I think we can all expect them to probably get back to more normal this year. Navy also plays at a super slow tempo. Had a very good year actually last year, but once you dive into it, their schedule was probably the softest schedule I've ever seen in my entire life. They're going to slow it down. Virginia's going to slow it down. Navy's going to slow it down. Why would we play this in DFS? I think I'm going to totally skip this game. Alright, no, I'll do this. I'll totally skip Navy. They play like a 12-man rotation. Why? Against the best, arguably the best defense in the country. Slow tempo. Yeah, I don't know. Alright, as far as Virginia, yeah, Kihei Clark's their main guard. Beekman at 5.1K. I do think Beekman's too cheap. I think he's probably going to step up. It's going to be him and Clark. Anyone behind that guard position, I don't know. I think Shedrick at 4K on Virginia. Yeah, I'm going to play some Shedrick. I might be fucking crazy for this because, yeah, look at his game log. 1.25002 fantasy points. Yeah, probably crazy for this one, but didn't bring in any reinforcements in the front court. And Shedrick, when he did play minutes, which almost never, Yeah, you saw he had 16 minutes. He put up 19 fantasy points. You see, he had 18 minutes. He put up 21 fantasy points. So I think he's going to be more than a fantasy point producer. They seem to have some confidence because they didn't bring in transfers to back him up. Yeah, probably stupid, but I think Shedrick, especially in the defensive category, I think they really like what he brings to that back line. I think they're really trying to. I mean, we all know what Virginia's trying to do, right, defensively, and I think they think Shedrick's the guy. That's what they've told us. So I don't know, mild interest. All right, La Tech versus Bama. La Tech's 11.5-point dogs. Over is at 152.5. So obviously there's going to be some interest in this game with that huge total. That being said, Bama games are hard because they play really, really, really good defense. Like Ken Palm had them on the third best defense in the country last year. Even though they play at such a high tempo. So this one's tough. What it boils down to me is that La Tech, I think Lofton at 6.6K is one of the best values on the entire slate. With a high tempo matchup, they run their entire offense through this guy on the post. He's like a left-hander, big bruiser. It's like Cameron Krutwig on Loyola, Maryland. He can pass. He's got post moves. He's got rebounds, blocks, steals. Lofton in any format at 6.6K. He's probably going to be high owned, but like I just don't see how you really fade him, to be honest. Other than that, at the guard position, they have Willis coming in. He's a transfer. His stats look really good at 6.7K. And the thing is, we have no idea how he's going to shoot. Like, this Louisiana Tech offense, they're not really a give a guy the ball and let him shoot kind of offense. I guess you could get there because he's a prolific scorer at only 6.6K, playing against a very high-tempo team. I don't know. Something's just telling me. I don't know. All right, Amari Archibald, I think he's going to be pretty much the most steady contributor. You see there, 10, 3, and 3 across all stat categories. I think he's a very strong cash play at 5.3K. I think Kristen at 3.6K. There's not a lot of value I like on the slate, which is weird for a first week. Usually, like a first week, the value is just totally off the charts. In this one, they actually set the prices pretty well. I think Kristen at 3.6K, if I need to pay down. This guy was actually, he made like an all-team CUSA defensive list. He's like a stout dude. He's over 200 pounds, 6.3K. Looks like a running back. Gets a lot of steals. And they lost 3 starters from a year ago. So I think Kristen's going to play some good minutes, especially given the fact that they got accolades last year. So I think paying down, that might be one way I look. All right, as far as Bama goes, I like Bama. I think everyone's going to like Bama, so it might be high owned. Shackelford, he's a lefty. He shoots, he rebounds, he passes, he shits. Yeah, shit ton of threes. I don't really see with what they've lost and what they have returning and what we know they're going to run under Nate. What we know they're going to run with that offense. He's very underpriced at 7K is what I'll say. Other than that, Javon Quinterly, also very, very, very underpriced. I can tell you right now I'm going to be stacking them in most lineups, especially smaller field. I will be stacking Javon Quinterly for sure. If you run at that high of a tempo and you're the clear-cut number 1 guard and you're 6.5K, it seems like kind of a joke. Okay, J.D. Davidson at 6K. I'll play more of the guys above him just because I know what they're bringing. J.D. Davidson seems like a really talented guard, but we don't really know what he's bringing to the table. That being said, I already mentioned this offense plays at such a high tempo. Definitely not a full fade. Like I think Davidson's totally fine that mid range. All right, if you're playing Bama's front court, you're basically asking to get hurt, and that's kind of what it's been. Like if you played CBB DFS last year, you know they had a shit ton of injuries and guys were in and out. Pretty much none of them mattered. Noah Gurley at 8.1K. Again, he's one of those transfers whose price is totally off because he did not deserve those stats if he was playing at Bama. He didn't play at Bama last year, so he's not going to deserve that price at Bama this year is what I'll say. Again, I'm going to butcher these pronunciations, but Alex Chico coming off the Achilles injury and now he's suspended. I think that's going to open up minutes for Badeko because they have, again, 2 talented freshmen. But I can't trust Badeko at 6.1K. I guess he could go off. He's supposed to be good, but until we see it, it's not like he's a lock, like the Duke guy we'll talk about later. It's not like he's a lock. I think Jawan Gary at 4.7K, I think is probably their top option from the front court. He's really good at defense. He's going to get some defensive stats this year, I feel like, at 4.7K. I do think he's underpriced. I think in cash games, he is very good. In tournaments, he's just kind of a maybe. All right, last game here. We have Kentucky against Duke. I did bet Kentucky plus 1.5. Over-under's at 148.5, so you know we have some interest here. Basically, Kentucky, they got a shit ton of transfers. They're looking better this year. They were bad last year, but obviously looking better. I'm kind of a fan. I like all the transfers they got. Severe Wheeler, transfer from Georgia. He was their point guard, 7.7K. I think he's fine. I think he takes a hit going to Kentucky where they have a lot of good ball handlers, a lot of good scorers. I don't think he's going to see like 13 assists per game. That being said, he has better scoring around him. I don't think he's a bad option at all. I think especially in cash games, I think he's fine. Keelan Grady, transfer from Davidson. This kid's really good at basketball. He's a good scorer, a good shooter. I think he's fine everywhere. Could hit a ton of threes. That being said, at 6.5K, I think his usage rate is obviously going to go down playing on Kentucky. Ty Washington, way too cheap at 5.7K. Looks like a good shooter. He looks like a good slasher. Looks like he can handle the ball. I think he's a good player, to be honest with you, at 5.7K. And then behind him, CJ Frederick can really shoot, and Mintz is okay behind him, but I think he's going to really see a reduced role, given the fact that this backcourt looks a lot better than last year. So, okay. Front court, Keon Brooks. The NBA draft scouts love this guy. He looks pretty good. His defensive stats have been absolutely nowhere for most of his career, but he can pretty much do everything. I think Brooks is kind of a trap at 6.4K. Like, he seems okay. I actually think their backcourt should take most of the usage. Honestly, if I was coaching this team, I think they have a really good backcourt. I think Brooks, Shabiwi, Collins, like, they're good, but as far as usage goes, it's more of like I would just stick them back there on defense in transition, to be honest with you. And then that Big Oscar at 6K. Big Oscar is one of the toughest dudes to figure out in college basketball. DFS, if you were playing last year, I don't even know how to give a synopsis. He basically didn't have a season last year at West Virginia. Like, it was hit or miss. So, I'll just leave that. He's totally hit or miss. He's very talented. But he does have a much more crowded front court around him. But his price is really cheap. So, could he go for 40? Sure. Could he go for 13? Sure. So, pretty volatile. Okay. Collins at 5.1K. I really don't understand why he's this cheap. He's one of the top recruits in the entire country. He can jump out of the gym. He's 6'11". He could get like 5 blocks. Nobody'd be surprised. I think of all the freshmen, he's probably the lowest priced guy I would consider. Seems like a good price. Obi Toppin's brother, Jacob Toppin. Obviously, the Toppin brothers in college basketball. We like them at 4.2K, but I think the guys above them are pretty solid. So, nothing crazy there. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, if this seemed way more casual, less analytical, less stats than the college football shows, then obviously it was, because that's our bread and butter, and this is, we love college basketball too, but I think college football is where the true money is to be made. So, go ahead and check out that video. I'll have a Mac video out tomorrow morning. Obviously, I always have the Saturday main slate video out as well. But yeah, we love college sports. I think that's where the biggest value is to be had, because here where betting is becoming more legal. DFS obviously has been legal in most states for a while, but still becoming more legal. There are opportunities to be had. And where everybody knows NFL, most people know NBA, I think there's a small window where you can exploit those sports. And there's a huge, huge, huge window where you can exploit college sports. So I think we found that window for college football. I think we have found that window, especially in prize picks. Again, if you're going 11 for 13, you found the window. Are we going to find it in college basketball? We are trying. Do we know we haven't mapped out as much as college football? Not quite. But I think we can get there. We have identified that college football, there's a clear value. We have identified college sports, and there's not as many eyeballs. The betting space, you can just tell by the number of people in the tournaments, by the number of entrants. You can tell Not as many people give a shit. If not as many people give a shit, that means the prize pool is lower. Sure, that also means your edge, percentage-wise, could go up. So, anyway, this is more of a project for college basketball. If I totally missed anything, let me know. Let me know. Like, honestly, if I missed a punt, if I missed anybody totally, please let me know. This is not meant to be like, fucking, I told you so, this guy's going to go off. No, this is meant to be just sharing information. So, if any information I totally was off on, just let me know. Open space community. At Yonkers CFB on Twitter. Prize Picks. Please hit up Prize Picks. I will tweet anything I have. I have a shit ton going out every single week on college football. College basketball will also be going out. So, at Yonkers CFB on Twitter. That being said, good luck, and hopefully let's make some money.